Welcome to One for the Road. I'm Devvy Kid and your commentator. One for the Road was developed and created to help the busy commuter and Americans who don't have access to the internet find out what Congress and the media won't tell you. The ACLU, Fulfilling the Communist Agenda. This is another one of my columns, December 2004. Every day the headlines scream with some new threat from the American Civil Liberties Union. I believe it's important to look behind the curtain and discover the origin of groups and organizations to better understand their activities. The ACLU was founded in the 1920s by Roger Baldwin and Crystal Eastman, described as a, quote, progressive and the perfect feminist, unquote. Earl Browder was General Secretary of the Communist Party of the United States from 1930 through its dissolution in 1944. When the party was reconstituted as the Communist Political Association later that year, Browder was chosen as its president. Browder proudly proclaimed at that time that the ACLU functioned as a, quote, transmission belt for the party. To deny the ACLU's founding was attached at the hip to communist organizations is to deny what can easily be proven as the truth, and there are many books and credible reference and research papers on this issue. For the past few decades, the ACLU has been on a major crusade to destroy Christianity in America, promote filth under freedom of speech and expression, and of course vigorously defend the homosexual culture of death. On January 10, 1963, Congressman Herlong, was a Democrat from Florida, read a list of 45 communist goals into the congressional record, and anybody can go to your local library and read these as long as you have the dates. Below are the communist goals being implemented by the ACLU in their quest to destroy America's culture and traditions. 1. Use technical decisions of the courts to weaken basic American institutions by claiming their activities violate, quote, civil rights, unquote. Get control of the schools. Use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda. Soften up the curriculum. Get control of the teachers' associations, very important, and be sure to put the party line in school textbooks. Continue discrediting American culture by degrading all forms of artistic expression. An American communist cell was told to, quote, eliminate all good sculpture from parks and buildings, unquote, substituting shapeless, awkward, and meaningless forms in their place. Control art critics and directors of art museums. Quote, our plan is to promote ugliness, repulsive, and meaningless art, unquote. Eliminate all laws governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and free press. And boy, haven't we seen the lawsuits over that. Break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenities in books, magazines, motion picture, radio, and television. And look at today, it's in all the schools. Present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as, quote, normal, natural, and healthy, unquote. Infiltrate the churches and replace religion with social religion. Discredit the Bible and emphasize the need for intellectual maturity, which does not need a, quote, religious crutch, unquote. Eliminate prayer or any phase of religious expression in the schools on the grounds that it violates the principle of separation of church and state. And we can all see the battles going on right now here in October of 2005 over the separation of church and state as something over the Pledge of Allegiance. This is one of the major goals of the communists. Belittle all forms of American culture and discourage the teaching of American history on the ground that it was only a minor part of the big picture. Give more emphasis to Russian history since the communists took over. Obliterating the American past with its great and glorious rich history in the principles of freedom, liberty, and private ownership is a major goal of the communists then and now. In some states, in the school systems, they don't even have civics classes anymore. Support any socialist movement to give centralized control over any part of the culture, education, social agencies, welfare programs, mental health clinics, and so forth. Discredit the family as an institution. Encourage promiscuity and easy divorce. We can all see how far these goals have come in America's culture. Anyone who has been following the destructive path of the ACLU can easily see how effective these communist goals have been implemented to, quote, promote democracy, unquote, and protect your, quote, civil rights, unquote. Lenin, one of the most brutal dictators of all time, stated, quote, communism alone is capable of providing really complete democracy, unquote. See Tucker, The Lenin Anthology. Perhaps it's time to recognize the ACLU as the American Communist Lawyers Union instead of their disingenuous civil rights stage name. No organization can exist without memberships and funding. It is inconceivable to me how anyone who claims to be a Christian, lawyer, or layman could belong to such an anti-American organization as the ACLU. Burn your card and get out. Organizations like Working Assets, tobacco companies, and big corporations all donate to the ACLU, which in turn uses that money to buy the favors of those who serve in Congress, who vote to unconstitutionally fund the activities of the ACLU under the Civil Rights Attorneys' Fees Awards Act of 1976. If Americans really want to put the ACLU out of business, remove yourself as a member of their organization, boycott companies that donate to them, and demand these public servants in Congress repeal the unconstitutional funding of this subversive organization. There is no justification under Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution to steal from the people's treasury to give money to the ACLU or any other organization for civil rights lawsuits. Your Congress critter will be in your district throughout the next year for the 2006 elections. Make the most of it.